There is a point where assisted living stops being a care decision and becomes a math problem. And that is the part a lot of people are not ready for. Because when you first start looking at assisted living, it's very easy to focus on the community. Is it clean? Is the food good? Will mom like it? Is it close to us? Do they have activities every day? Is it safe? All of that matters. But none of it matters if the monthly bill is going to drain your savings faster than you expected. And that is where people get caught off guard. They look at the starting price and they think, okay, maybe we can make this work. And then they add up how much it's going to cost for 5 years. They assume there has to be a big pile of cash sitting in a savings account to pay for this. And if there isn't, they panic. But savings are not always the whole plan. There may be other options. There may be assets that you're not looking at strategically yet, and there may be a better order to make these decisions in so that you're not forced to make a rushed choice later. So let's talk about how to pay for assisted living without just draining your savings, what most people overlook when they start doing the math, and why the right answer may depend less on the monthly fee itself and more on the order in which you make these decisions. Because the expensive mistake is not always choosing the wrong community. Sometimes the expensive mistake is waiting too long to figure out how all of this is going to fit together. Before you decide where to move, you need to understand what you're really paying for. Assisted living is not usually just one flat fee. And when I say assisted living, I mean all types of senior living, whether it's independent living, assisted living, or memory care. A community may advertise a starting monthly rate, but that's just the rent. Are you getting a 1-bedroom, 1-bath? Are you getting a 2-bedroom, 2-bath? Are you getting a freestanding cottage? Then, depending on the person's individual needs, there may be additional charges for the care levels. How much care does this person need on a daily basis? Do they need help bathing, dressing themselves, feeding themselves? What about medication management? What about transportation and laundry and housekeeping? There may be a monthly community fee. There might be a charge for cable TV or Wi-Fi. There might be a move-in fee upfront. So when someone says, this place is only $2,500 a month, my first question is that the total expected cost or is that the starting price? Those are two very different things. And if that person needs more help 6, 12 months down the road, how much is that cost going to go up when we go from level 1 to level 2 care, for example? And this is where someone on a fixed income starts to have heart palpitations. A lot of people are on fixed incomes. Maybe you've got Social Security, maybe a pension, maybe some retirement income. But even a 100% VA disability rating is probably not going to be enough to cover the entire monthly fee. And when assisted living costs more than the monthly income, now we have a gap. The gap is the number that we need to solve for. Not the entire bill, just the gap. By the way, you may be wondering how I know any of this. My name is Karin. I've been a realtor for more than 20 years, and I specialize in seniors who are considering moving to a senior living community in the Savannah area. So let's say the community costs $6,000 a month between the rent and the level of care. And let's say that the monthly income is $3,500 coming in every single month. That's a gap of $2,500. Where is that going to come from? One option is long-term care insurance, but there's a big catch. Usually it's only available if you already have it. You already have that policy in place. You usually can't go buy it after you already need it. So long-term care is usually a policy that you've had for many, many years. You bought it when you were young and healthy and it was cheap and easy to get. The older you are, the more that you need it, the more difficult it is to obtain the policy in the first place. So if there is an existing long-term care policy in place, pull it out now. Don't assume that you know what it covers. You've got to read through it. Does it cover independent living or does it only cover assisted living and memory care? How much does it pay per day or per month? Is there a max? How long do the benefits last? Is there an elimination period? That's where you have to pay the first several months out of pocket before the insurance kicks in. And then what has to happen before the insurance company starts to pay at all? They're going to require documentation written up from your doctor stating all of the activities of daily life that you need help with. ADLs are bathing, dressing, going to the bathroom, transferring out of bed into a wheelchair, transferring from the wheelchair to the dining room table, things like that. So long-term care insurance can absolutely be a part of the plan, but it's not a guarantee. You have to understand the policy, you have to file the claim correctly, and if the claim gets denied, there are ways to appeal it. Ask me how I know. And then we move on to the next part of the plan. This is where people start looking at their savings account. But don't assume that savings have to do all of the heavy lifting alone. Because if it costs several $1,000s a month, even a healthy savings account is going to start shrinking very, very quickly. So I would not look at savings alone. I would look at the full picture, the monthly income, what you have in savings, any investments, retirement. But then there's probably one very large asset that you already have that could fully fund this new lifestyle for many, many years. And that is your house. This is the part that people typically think about too late. They think of their house very emotionally. And of course, I understand why. Maybe you've lived there for 30 years. Maybe this is where you raised your kids. Maybe it's paid in full. It's full of furniture and photos and china and silver and mementos that you gathered while you were traveling the world. There's a lot of memories tied up in this house. I get it. But if you own this house free and clear, or if you have a significant amount of equity in the house may be the asset that gives this entire care plan breathing room. And it's not to say that you have to sell your house right away, but I want you to know what role the house might play in funding this new lifestyle going forward. Selling the house can sometimes be the smartest strategy, especially if the alternative is just draining your savings or putting off the inevitable, choosing a community that you don't really love, but it's only what was available and what you could afford. But selling a house during a senior transition like this is not like a normal sale. There's a lot more involved. So I help the homeowner deal with all of their belongings. What are you going to take with you to your new location? You can't take a 4,000 square foot house worth of furniture to a 2-bedroom apartment. We can arrange to have an estate sale. We can sell a lot of it. We can put you in touch with antiques dealers and coin collectors and gun collectors and people that want to buy your silver and gold. They will make you a very fair offer for your valuables. And then there's even more money that can help you pay for this. We can help you decide, what are you going to take with you? What will we sell? What can we give to the kids and the grandkids? What can we donate? And what needs to just get hauled away because it doesn't really have a lot of value? And then we take a look at the house itself and decide what needs to be repaired or updated. Should we do all of those things, or should we just sell it as is to an investor who will take it with no repairs at all and can close on it very quickly? Or is it worth fixing it up, improving it, doing a few renovations in order to sell for a higher price, even though it takes some time and it takes some money up front to do all that? And then I can help you find the community that's right for you. I can take you to the ones that seem like the best fits. We'll take a tour. Maybe we have lunch. We check out their safety ratings and their reviews. We see if there are any complaints that have been filed with the state. You can talk to the residents and get the behind the scenes secrets of what it's really like to live there. And we can make a plan for, are we going to move and then sell the house? Are we going to sell the house first and then we move into the community? All of those things. So if you're at this stage of life where you're thinking that senior living is in the near future for you, the best approach is to look at selling the house and finding communities at the same time, not one and then the other. If you are considering assisted living in Savannah, start looking at communities early. I would love to assist you with this, so feel free to schedule a call with me. I'll put a link in the description below the video. There's no charge for this call. We'll just talk about your situation. So the big takeaway here is do not wait until someone falls and breaks a hip and is in the hospital before you start thinking about all of this. You want to know what your options are and weigh the pros and cons well before you have to actually make a decision. Look at all of your monthly income. Look at every resource at your disposal. And if the house is part of the plan, then think about it so that we can make it a strategy, not just an additional level of stress. Now, if you don't know what the difference between independent living and assisted living is, in this next video, I go over exactly what the difference is so that you will know too.